Hi Eunice.
Welcome to Making the Cut.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And are you ready for some sheer driving pleasure?
I am.
Okay.
Looking forward.
All right, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
You clearly work with a lot of social enterprises and you give a lot of, grants. Can I just ask, how do you pick which social enterprises to work with?
So for us, I think what we're passionate about is really about businesses being able to create an impact.
Okay.
So for us, when we look at the criteria, we do want to support enterprises that first, have potential for a sustainable business.
Okay.
Is there a model that enables them to scale their business and in so doing, scale their impact as well?
Right.
Second, of course, would be, what sort of problem are they trying to solve?
Okay. That's a really important question, right?
Yeah. For example, in Singapore, we do see many enterprises really seeking to solve the problem of, increasing income inequalities, trying to be more inclusive. And in many of these enterprises, we also then look at, the founders, the team, being a social enterprise is really difficult, right? It's
Yes,
tough.
it is.
And we do believe that the people behind it really have to be a special group of people, I think, who are able to navigate those challenges.
The values of the team, right?
Yes.
Will also dictate the values of the organization in that sense.
Values and alignment and skill sets and so on.
So tell me a little bit about some of the great initiatives from these social enterprises and how they leverage technology to achieve their goals as well as to achieve some of the causes or like you said, the problems that they're out to solve.
There's a lot of technology out there, and I think people are trying to use technology for many different things. Obviously, like to make lots of money, right? But I think it would be really amazing if we can really use technology to provide access, to millions of people, to healthcare, education, livelihoods, credit, and so on. So I really do passionately believe that technology can be used for greater impact. So there are many social enterprises that we support, to that end. For example, we support this social enterprise called Reach 52, and they really aim to use technology, use their platform to reach the 52% of the world's population that does not have access to healthcare.
Oh, fantastic. Is this based in Singapore?
It is based in Singapore.
Oh, great.
And their platforms are being used today in the Philippines. We've provided them with a grant to open up in the Indian market, and they've really been able to do that. And now they're moving on to many other markets as well. So I think technology really enables that, opens up markets that, were never accessible before,
Claire, since we're sitting in a BMW, I thought I'd talk a little bit about what sustainability means at the BMW Group. So with the group, basically the idea of the circular economy, the values, the practices of the circular economy, sits at the heart of the group, and really it's a holistic approach to sustainability where you're not just looking at electric vehicles, but how the electric vehicles are manufactured, all the way to sourcing for raw materials, to recycling, cutting down emissions, of course, and as well as hiring a diverse group of individuals. So on that same note, what does sustainability mean at the DBS Group?
At DBS, our sustainability agenda is underpinned by our 3 pillars. So the first pillar really focuses on responsible banking, and that really looks at the heart of the bank's, products and services. What sort of lending products do we have? How can we encourage customers to come on this sustainability journey with us as well? And a big part of responsible banking is also about financial inclusion, like you said. It's also about the people. The second pillar of our sustainability agenda really focuses on our business practices. So how can the bank walk the talk? In how we procure, in what we do, in how we hire. These are all the things that we also think about. And the third pillar of our sustainability agenda really focuses on creating impact beyond banking.
Okay.
Most recently in February, the bank also announced an additional $100 million commitment towards helping to enhance the scope of DBS Foundation, as well as really the bank contributing additional resources towards philanthropic and other forms of giving. We're really excited about this additional commitment, and we really hope that really enables us to grow our impact beyond banking in a time that we believe is much needed.
I just want to ask you at this point in time, are you enjoying the ride?
I am. It is a very comfortable
So my
ride.
driving's
And
okay for you,
You're
right?
driving great.
The iX that we're in now, the BMW iX, is the company's technology flagship as well as a fully electric vehicle. On that note, how do you think Singapore is doing as we head to a fully EV future? How do you think we're doing for the next 10 years at least?
I do think that we have come a long way.
Yeah.
I think probably 10 years ago, I wouldn't have envisioned that we would have, EV vehicles so commonly used. I mean, I say commonly, but definitely more commonly than it was before.
Yes, especially in the last year, like the
Yes.
amount of EV vehicles that have been sold has obviously shot up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That will really have a huge environmental
Yes,
impact, and that has to
absolutely.
do with making charging stations more accessible. I think we all need to work towards a more inclusive
Yes.
environment.
Sustainable but inclusive.
Yes, where each
Yeah.
one of us sees that we have a responsibility towards being greener.
A lot of things that's holding people back is also charging points, right? So it was recently announced that perhaps by 2030 we'll have 60,000 charging points and also closer to where people are staying. So let's hope that that really drives people to looking at, owning perhaps an electric vehicle in the future. So Claire, now I just read in the news article and the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, the IPCC, has just come out with their 2022 report, and there was a quote by Professor Deborah Roberts, who is the co-chair of IPCC, and she says that this is the decade for action if we are going to turn things around. So there's no better time to have a conversation about sustainability, and you're probably one of the best people for it. Now, I know that DBS is committed to be net zero by 2050. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. I think as a bank, we are committed towards achieving net zero operational carbon by 2022. And we've also committed to having transparent disclosures. I think we were the first Singapore bank to sign on to the Equator Principles,
Right.
which really is a risk management framework for a lot of our lending practices in the infrastructure sector. And finally, we're also steadily tracking towards zero thermal coal commitment by 2039. So these are
Great.
some really important, I think, commitments that the bank has made, on this journey that we're on towards net zero. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. I mean, there is a way to go, but I think that's the thing, right? It's about starting now and about planning forward for the future and how we can be more sustainable. So Claire, enterprises obviously are driving social as well as environmental change, and they're making a lot of impact in their area. But let's talk about the individual, right? Because I mean, throughout the conversation, we've talked a little bit about making sustainability, making sure that it's inclusive, and obviously there's a hint to how the individual can contribute. So what do you think? What is your advice to us as individuals, and how we can, to quote Professor Deborah Roberts, co-chair of the IPCC again, help to turn things around?
So I think the work that we have ahead of us is tremendous. And I think every one of us has to play a part.
Right.
I think it starts from the very, very small things as individuals. When we look at just our lifestyles, how can we make small changes in our everyday habits? For example, for me, recently I decided, okay, if I'm going to order coffee, regularly, which I do, how can I make sure that the people that supply my coffee
Right.
are sustainable?
Right.
So I currently do procure coffee on a subscription basis,
Okay.
from social enterprises. So I procure from from Better Barista, for example, because I know that this lifestyle change, and for me, that's I think, and I'm sure for many of us, these are things that we do consistently in our lives, right? And so if we make one small change, it can actually have a ripple effect of helping, in this case, helping not just the environment, but also helping the people that this enterprise supports as well.
Yes. I mean, I've always believed it's kind of the little things that you do that make the bigger difference. And together we can do that as individuals as well as corporations and what you're doing, and as governments and countries.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Claire, for all the advice and all those wise words. It's been great really having this conversation around sustainability with you.
Thank you, Eunice.
Thank you. And I hope you've enjoyed the BMW iX.
I have really enjoyed the ride. You are a good driver. Great. Awesome.